Are you an alpha male that lifts heavy weights and ignores women whenever they speak to you? Well, then you're probably a big fan of King Azoulay, because this guy hates when women say anything, which is why back in 2008, he decided to... Ben Azoulay is about as sick and sadistic as they come. This guy makes Wes Watson look like a Nobel Prize winner just by comparison, if that's even possible. If you don't know who this clown is, first of all, I'm deeply envious of your ignorance. Second of all, he's your typical cookie-cutter alpha male social media guru influencer. However, instead of just being cringe and talking shit on the internet like a lot of these social media gurus do, this dude was actually convicted of deeply despicable things that he has lied about on multiple occasions. I'll let you read the charges right here, because if I say this shit out loud, YouTube is probably going to age restrict my video. Not only is this dude annoying and cringy on the surface, but he's actually a morally bankrupt monster who deserves to be buried underneath the prison. This video will cover the heinous crimes against humanity committed by Ben Azoulay and his brother, and how his horrendous response has sealed his fate and destroyed any shred of credibility he could have ever had. If that sounds interesting to you, then let's hop right into it. Before we get into the dark deeds of this demented douchebag, I want to show you a clip of this guy that will help you get to know the type of loser we're dealing with. A lot of these alpha influencer guys will post blatant stretches of the truth where they try to position themselves as a super tough or super wise guy, like this clip where our culprit shares a story of him fighting his father.
From that point on, my dad knew he couldn't take on me. I was 13. He picked up a wooden stick and he went to hit me over the head, and I did this and it broke. And then I took it out of his hand, picked him up and threw him on the coffee table. That's the beauty, that we are actually superhuman. There's something called microfractions. It's little microfractions that you cause with hitting the bone, thickens the bone. And I used to sit there and hit my shins with a hammer all fucking day.
Yeah, this definitely didn't happen. Also, am I the only one who thinks this dude is just talking to himself and there's nobody else that's even in the room? What a joke, dude. Not to mention he talks about microfractures, but he blunders and says microfractions, which immediately makes you realize this guy's a complete and utter dumbass. Just more proof that steroids doesn't fix stupid. There's another clip of him claiming he beat up 30 guys who were all attacking him.
I've taken on not one, not two guys. I fought 30 guys at the same time and they couldn't take me out.
You fought 30 guys?
30 guys at the same time. They got to the point that they said, okay, you mother, we're done.
This douchebag really embodies the tough guy, trust me bro archetype that we see all over the internet every single day. He also claims that he's a descendant of King Solomon, and that's why you should call him King Azoulay instead of his mere mortal name, Ben. He also said that he's Israeli because, of course he fucking is. But all the stories and weird lies aside though, this guy is not just a social media cornball. He's a morally repugnant piece of shit with a closet full of skeletons. The elephant in the room is that Ben Azoulay has been to prison. And what did he go to prison for? Well, when Ben was just 18 years old, he went to a party with his brother and some other friends. When they got there, they saw this 15-year-old girl who was a cheerleader for their local school, and they convinced her to come to the party at Ben and his brother's house, and also mentioned that there would be alcohol there for them to drink. Then when she went over there, Ben, his brother, and one of their friends did unspeakable things to this girl after immobilizing her with alcohol. Yes, they gang her. I have to bleep it for YouTube, but this is the type of guy we're talking about today. She was a 15-year-old virgin that Ben, his brother, and his friends took advantage of and violated. The case is so disturbing and graphic in nature that I really don't want to go into any deeper detail than that verbally. But if you're morbidly curious and can't help but want to learn a little more about what happened, I will leave the court document citing the entire situation in the description down below. Read at your own discretion, because it really is deeply disturbing shit that these monsters did to an underage girl. All of this information was brought to the surface by none other than John Bravo Films, who has become one of my favorite YouTube channels very quickly just in the last month. John located these documents from 2008 and made them public information. After this bombshell about King Douchebag was dropped, he made a response video that is career-ending, a complete desecration of himself and his own brand, and has to be one of the worst YouTube response videos I've ever seen. It starts off with a super weird montage of him where he says he never thought he'd become so famous that somebody would want to try and destroy his life for something he didn't do.
See, I didn't think it was gonna come out this way, that I would be so known that somebody would just want to destroy my name and go back almost 20 years to present to you something that I didn't do.
Dude, nobody knows who the fuck you are. You're not Ronaldo. You're not even Wes Watson. You're pond scum who got exposed for exactly who you are shortly after becoming the newest internet alpha male punching bag. He frames it in a way where he claims he would have been happy to share his side of the story for why he went to prison and what he went through, but how nobody ever asked him about this.
I believed I was gonna be on a big podcast and someone was finally going to ask me, "Hey Ben, why were you in jail for your 19th birthday?" That would have been the perfect moment for me to share with the world. You see, when I shared with friends, or when I shared it with ex-girlfriends, or when I shared it with my wife, the reaction was, things happen, it's life, but look how you grew out of it. In the United States, there is a saying, if you're not smart enough like a Jew to make your own money, better learn how to sue one. I mean, you clearly know the stories about Andrew Tate. You guys know the story of Donald Trump. You guys know Cristiano Ronaldo.
Portuguese soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo.
Dude, nobody told you that you couldn't talk about it yourself. If you're trying to be transparent with who you really are, just talk about it on your own fucking time. He also said he talked to other people about this, and they said that, well, things happen. When people think of things happening to you as a kid, usually they think of a speeding ticket, or getting in a fight at school. Those are mistakes that happen, not inebriating an underage girl with substances and then repeatedly taking advantage of her with several of your disgusting fucking friends at your parents' house. Those are diabolical deeds that literal demon spawn do, and that's who you are, you fucking monster.
So we weren't worried about the case, because truly you'd have to really prove that there was a rape, and we knew it wasn't true. Nobody raped anybody. This was a bunch of young people who were hanging out, drinking some alcohol, and a young girl that went back home to strict parents who supposedly got so upset, they sued us for $50 million. The judge says, listen, I have a great deal and we can finish all of this. I'll tell them to remove the $50 million lawsuit because what they need is real justice. But I'll also let them know that there wasn't any and that they're going to lose this case regardless. So how about we do that? But she said, I'll give him that. All of it will be expunged off of his record. He'll spend 30 days in jail to make it seem like it's a lot. And he'll be done with it. So he comes to me and tells me about the deal.
He's trying to reduce the severity of what he did, and thankfully, judging by the comments and the general attitude of the internet, nobody was stupid enough to fall for his bold-faced horseshit lies. He then starts to recount the details I shared earlier and clearly fabricates the story, trying to cover his own ass and do damage control. He claims that the doctors found no evidence on her body that she was taken advantage of, but the actual files tell a completely different story. If you look at this information, there was a medical examination done after the event took place.
However, the doctors, they never said no rape happened. In fact, if you look at the medical report, which I'm going to show you, paramedics responded and H was transported to the hospital, examined by a trauma nurse who found evidence of vaginal and anal tearing, bite marks, and bruising.
So this dude lied here, and he lied about a lot of other things, so what makes you think he's telling the truth about how he didn't actually do anything to the girl now? He's not. He's a fucking lying piece of garbage who should be buried underneath the prison with his disgusting degenerate brother and friends as well. I know I usually try to make light on this channel about the things I talk about, but I really can't do it here because this guy is such a detestable and disgusting reject that I can't even put into words how much I don't like him. He also conflates the criminal case and civil case in an attempt to muddy the waters, but John Bravo showed receipts that this dude was criminally charged back in July of 2008, while the civil suit for $50 million didn't happen until 2 years later in October 2010. To make matters worse, according to John Bravo Films, Ben Azoulay and his brother dickhead Dylan Azoulay did this to not just this one girl, but apparently several others as well. Absolutely vile. So Ben Azoulay is an absolute piece of shit. If he was just your run-of-the-mill fitness influencer who gives advice and fancies himself an alpha male, I could tolerate him and just make a few jokes at his expense, but for it to be revealed that he is that, and also one of the worst things a man can be, a guy who forces himself onto women after immobilizing them with substances, well then I am beyond disgusted, and this clown deserves all of the shit he's going to get in the coming weeks, months, and years for being one of the worst types of people somebody could ever be. Never forget that he pled guilty in court and is a registered sex offender who tried to change his name because of his reputation. Anyway, I know other channels have already talked about this piece of shit, but I wanted to give my opinion on it as well, as I continue to branch out from content other than just the world of comedy. Make sure to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Send this to somebody who doesn't know who this fucking loser is and how much of a piece of garbage he is. That's all I got for you guys today. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.